And I think in one of your previous videos you were talking a lot about Barack Obama, and I think there's been like some controversy too about saying, well, is he a light worker? Or is he?
Oh yes.
And I talked to Commander Adama about it a lot, and he says, well, Brad, this is it. This is exactly where we're going right now. This is going to change everything. And I guess some people are just kind of questioning about what are your feelings on the entire Barack Obama light worker concept, or just that he is now in charge and he's kind of going to become this great light worker and kind of guide us into a new era prior to 2012.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you mentioned controversy, I mean, absolutely, there's been loads. But I expected that. And, I realised that, there are a lot of different levels of people's consciousness and where they are and what they see. And as I've said before, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Mm-hmm. Everybody is seeing what they're supposed to be seeing. But the way I see it is... what I find is unusual. A lot of people in the public eye, it isn't really ethical to vibe them. That's the word I use. To look at them, to look at their aura and look and see them. It's not really ethical. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, what do you get from this photo?" And I'll say, "Well, I haven't had that person's permission to look at them." But with Barack Obama, I felt that his higher self has given permission. Only to a certain point, not about his family or his personal life or anything like that, but about what he represents as becoming the president of the United States. What that actually represents, that his higher self has given permission to those who are of the, of the correct frequency. They can see this, and what I see is, he's not fully aware yet of his light. Mm-hmm. And this is why he's coming across to some as, well, how can he be a light worker? He's doing dark things. He's not fully aware. The difference with him and the other members of the political structure is, this is what I see, this is what the Nine show me. Most of the members of the political structure in the past have followed very much ego, greed. It's come from service to self, basically, and they've mm-hmm. not really been interested in, I'm not being horrible or running down anyone in a political movement. I don't mean to do that. I'm simply saying what I see spiritually and psychically. But they've come from a service to self place where they haven't really had the interest of others at heart, because that's the service to self path. That is the path. They only see themselves. Exactly. And on a higher level, that's true. There is only one of us, but we can perceive that as, when we're here, as there's only me and I don't really care about anyone else, or we can perceive that as, I know there's only me, but everybody else is me as well, therefore I love them all. So there are two ways of this. And you see, Barack Obama is coming from the other side. He doesn't know these things consciously yet, but I see that he has not moved into the presidency through greed or power or a need to control. I know he's within that system, but he has followed guidance. He's had dreams. He's had feelings. He's following guidance, and that comes not in a service to self way. His guidance is service to others. This is quite difficult to explain in a video. And when the video comes from the Nine don't go into things, in a third density human way like I do. But that's what I see. His guidance is service to others. He may not fully be service to others yet. Completely realised that there's service to self and service to others in everybody in differing degrees. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, as time goes on, the service to others energy within him will grow. Yep. Things will happen. And he is a man of integrity. He will follow his heart. Mm-hmm. Decisions, he's got a really, challenging path there. But he's got a lot of support coming from the higher density, coming from those of us who can see his light. Now, I know there are those that will hear me speak this and think it's rubbish, and they become angry when they hear this as well. They become really angry with my viewpoint. Mm-hmm. I don't really understand that, but what I would say to those people is, when you look at Barack Obama and when you research him, look with your heart, not with ego or with any kind of feeling that you have towards the rest of the political structure. Don't just look at the structure he's in and what they have done. We know that structure is corrupt. Mm-hmm. But look at his vibration, his aura. Look for his energy and trust what you feel. And if you still feel that he is a service to self, awful, this, that and the other, then that's fine. But I would say to those people, you should also embrace those who believe and see his light. It isn't really good for your spiritual path for you to become angry when someone else sees something that you don't. It's not a criticism of you that you don't see that, and that person isn't saying I'm better than you because I can see it and you can't.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Everybody has a right to see what they see and should be allowed to see what they see without fear of being ridiculed or teased or, worse, attacked. And unfortunately that does happen, but that's what I see, and I speak, my truth, and I know that there are others who resonate with that, and I know there are those that don't, but I will speak and I will act on what I see and what the nine show me. And when the election was taking place, it was during the night, and I went to bed because it was, late, and I knew I wouldn't get the result until the next day. But I knew what was at stake with this election, and it wasn't just for the United States, it was for the whole planet.
Yeah.
I couldn't even put into words what it was, but I felt the enormity of this election, and I saw the timeline where sorry, I've forgotten the other guy's name. What was his the other
John McCain.
Yeah, McCain, sorry. McCain. I saw the timeline where he becomes president, and I saw the timeline where Barack Obama does. And I'd always seen the Barack Obama timeline as nearer to our future point. But consciousness changes so much that I was never 100% sure that would manifest. But I knew what was at stake, and the two timelines are so different. And if people are feeling negative about Barack Obama winning, well, they should look at the timeline where McCain wins, and that's not any attack on McCain at all. It's just the quantum reality changes that will take place with Barack as president, and if McCain was president, things were so different, and they were not of a high vibration. They were. I really wouldn't want to have existed with that timeline. I'm so relieved we're in this timeline. I can't really put into words why. I just know things are totally as they should be, and they're on the path, and our consciousness has manifested a political leader with a consciousness that resonates. It might not appear that way right now to a lot of people, but I really believe that eventually people will see. More and more people will see, but you can't look with your ego, you can't look with your mind, your brain, your human brain, or your eyes. You need to open your heart and feel and look with your energy. That's what you must do.
Yeah, exactly. I remember just looking at the prediction, that Commander Adama talked to me about, and of course with your video as well too. And I said, well, Barack Obama, he's not at that stage yet, but I can tell if there is, such a prediction of him going into that area, it's going to happen later. It's a spiritual evolution path, I think, that he's got to do. That's eventually going to come out of him and then say, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen. He will eventually take action. I think right now he's still kind of in a transitional period, and eventually that will work that way too. But my feelings were the same way. So I was like, "Wow, Barack Obama, are you sure she's going to be a light worker?" And then I just had to kind of take a few minutes and say, "Okay, well, actually, I could see this happening. I could see this happening. And I could tell he was a better choice of the two." And now that he has been chosen, I think it is definitely the right path. Because I know if there was John McCain, I could agree with you on that. There would be such a terrible timeline.
Well, I just see that McCain, no offense to him at all, but the service to self energy around him, he doesn't have the strength to move away from it. And I really hope that doesn't sound like a criticism of him. I don't want to criticize anyone, but that's what I see. Barack Obama, it's like he's independent. Nobody's controlling him. I mean, people are saying he's a puppet, and I think, it may appear that way at the moment because he's doing things that, are of the service to self-structure, but he's not. He is independent. He's following what's within him. He's not following others. I know it's not evident now to everyone, but things will happen and people will see. It will become more and more evident. And